Hello everyone, I wanted to do a reading bringing you advice from Spirit about whatever situation you're currently going through. So we have 3 piles to choose from. So pile 1 is going to be this pen. It has a little like stylus thing on the end of it. Pile 2, this blue pen. And then pile 3, this pencil. So go ahead and choose whichever one you're drawn to, and of course feel free to pick more than one if you're drawn to more than one. So we're going to get right into it with pile number 1. So whatever you're going through right now, whether it's one thing or multiple things, this is going to be whatever Spirit would like you to know, or just some helpful advice right now at this stage of your journey. Ace of Cups, 8 of Cups, 8 of Swords. So first, I'm getting that you need a little reassurance because the stage you're currently at, you may be facing some difficulties. It's like you know you're on the right path, but it's still bumpy at times, and this may be a bumpier moment for you. But it feels like it's quick passing, so the bumpy moments that come for you right now, they don't last long. Just like a little speed bump, that's all that it is. But it doesn't mean that you're not affected by it. And it's okay if you find yourself feeling extra sad when you don't feel like you should, or just really allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling, even if it's not a great feeling, because that feeling still needs to come out. And if you try to hide it or hold it back, it's not going to do you any favors. It does need to be released. The important thing is, when you're experiencing the uncomfortable emotion, make sure not to cling to it and to start believing this is what's real. This is my reality now. This is how I'm always going to feel. This is the truth of the situation, because it's not. So as long as you don't attach to those feelings, you're going to be okay. So first of all, you needed that reassurance that you've already made it. So in this 8 of Swords in reverse, it's somebody who they're no longer trapped by whatever they were trapped by, which it was something coming from their own mind. It's like being in your own way or self-sabotage, and you've overcome that. Whatever it feels like it was a mindset or a mentality of just a limiting belief about yourself and what you are capable of. But it seems you have overcome that. So you're not in that space anymore, but you're still not yet adjusted to the new space that you're in. So it's reminding me of somebody who was in jail or prison for a long time. They're out now, but it doesn't mean that everything's just easy automatically or better. They still have to adjust to this new world and this new lifestyle. And there's still gonna be rocky moments in their life. And even though they're free now from prison, they still have other struggles and challenges, and they are still gonna feel defeated at times, and even like trapped, and like they don't have their freedom. So that's kind of where you're at right now. So just one thing to know is that it's okay if when your mood does dip down, it's not a reason to be alarmed or an indication that you're doing something wrong. No matter what path you're on, it's just not realistic to think you could never have a bad feeling. And you can change your idea about what those bad feelings mean to you, but it's just like maybe you're expecting if you go on a certain path, then you'll never feel defeated or you'll never feel upset. But Spirit's wanting you to know you are still doing what you're supposed to be doing and on the right path, and that these dips in your mood are normal and it's just part of the process. But if you compare them to previously, it's like you're handling things way better now than you would have just in the recent past. You've been doing a lot of growing. So it does feel like, however, it's almost like this back and forth, like a seesaw kind of energy, where it's like part of you is still used to that old life because it's really all you've known, And so you're trying to adjust to this new one, but it's like anything you feel now from the past is just a ghost of the past. It's not saying that it's going to be repeated. So let's say you've healed a financial lack mindset that you once had. You've healed that, so you can never go back to those places that you were in. You will never have those same financial struggles. But that doesn't mean you'll never worry about your finances or you'll never have any type of struggles in that area. It just means it will never be like it was before, and it will never break you down as deeply as it did before because you've healed that. So let go of time and space and like everything having to be in an order, like first step, second step. It's not a linear process that you're on, this journey that you're on. And so it's not going to be like this step and this step. It's kind of going to jump all over the place, or that's how it's going to feel, or that's your perception of it, but that doesn't mean you're not moving forward. So even at times when it feels like you're taking a step back, you're not actually. It's just your perception of it. And that doesn't mean there's something wrong with your perception. This is just telling you, because of your experiences, this is how you're viewing it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the reality of the situation. And it feels like maybe certain things going on right now that aren't that big of a deal, from a bigger perspective, they somehow are affecting you deeper because that old self is still a little bit there, like seeing if it can come into this new world, like those old feelings. So it's almost like it's heightened, like everything may feel exaggerated right now. So like a little inconvenience could feel very big to you right now, but it's that old version of you that it would have been a big inconvenience, but it doesn't have to be anymore. So just because you're still feeling that residual energy of the past, it does not mean you're bringing it into the future. It's just not something that happens in an instant. It kind of has to be gradual, and you're just working that out of your system. So if it is coming up and you are being triggered right now, and you feel like, you know, you're being very, very triggered by small things, and you're aware of this, but you still can't deny how you feel, this is why. It's because that it's the last of that energy leaving your system, because it's no longer needed, and it's no longer of use to you, and it's no longer a match to where you are. So it's having to leave. It can't match you, so it's having to leave. So as long as you know that, you're going to stay above it and not feel like you're going backwards, taking one step forward, two steps back. You're not going to feel that way as long as you know these feelings of doubt and frustration and being triggered are just what's supposed to happen at this stage. If you can, take it as a good sign that these energies are leaving your body. And if you do feel yourself feeling waves of emotions, don't try to stop it or make a bunch of sense of it. It's just kind of like you have to get out of your head and just feel and let it move through your body. It's like you're getting a massage, and there's parts that are more tender or more sore. So some of it feels good, some of it is sore, but just that's a time to just let go and let all that stored energy be released from you, and not try to overthink it or cling on to it. So it's like any deceptive energy is deceptive in a way that it's not actually deceptive. So what I mean by that is, like, anything you perceive as like bad or against you or triggering you, it's actually the complete opposite. But Spirit doesn't expect you to understand that. It's like, just have this knowledge so that when you are experiencing yourself going through these triggers, you can have the higher knowledge of what's actually going on, and you can allow yourself to move through those without having a fear of taking them too seriously or putting too much meaning to them. But yeah, nothing is your enemy right now. Nothing is trying to attack you. These inconveniences, they're just, it's like I can't even put the words, I can't even find the words to explain it, but that's because I guess you're not meant to know it all right now. And that's the other thing. If you're trying to figure things out really hard right now and like need to know, need to understand, need to break everything down, you're going to really get exhausted and depressed. And it's like you can't figure this out mentally at this time. That's not, mental energy shouldn't be your focus right now, because it's just going to frustrate you further. It's just really more of a tapping into your body, tuning into your body, doing things that make you feel grounded, focusing on eating, sleeping, how much you're eating, what you're eating, how much you're sleeping, that type of thing, and really being more physically focused, because your body needs the extra support right now to be able to move this energy through it. Like it's detoxing this energy, so it needs extra attention. Maybe you feel like you need to be babied or cared for more right now, and this is why that you feel that way. So just, it's like your attention is trying to pull you more to your body and out of your mind, and it's only the triggers that are making you feel like you need to go in your mind. But just so you have some clarity about where those energies are coming from. There's also a lot going on, because a lot of stuff from the past it's like shaking up a water bottle when everything is settled to the bottom and it looks clear, but when you shake it up, like the water turns dirty again, because the water was never clear. So everything that seemed fine or good but wasn't really, like everything that on the surface was trying to appear to be better than it was, whether this is in your life or in the lives of people around you, it's like all that illusion and falseness is breaking down, and it's healing the past, because it's like the past was unable to heal because it was covered in so many lies and so many disguises and illusions. And now all that's being it's making me think for some reason of like an oil spill, and the oil would be the lies, and then the animals get trapped in it, and it has to be this process of like removing the oil from their feathers or their fur or whatever. So it's like that's what's happening right now, like all that gunk, all that black goo, like Venom from Spider-Man, and that was just attached, that's coming off now. And it's not something you need to be doing. Like this is behind the scenes, like everything you need to be doing, you are, and you're receiving that guidance clearly. But this is all being done behind the scenes. Spirit's working on this, because the past could not be healed while it was still under the illusion of lies. So let's see what else. It just feels like everything's being reset back to how it's supposed to be. So if there have been situations in your life that have felt really out of balance, or you just knew, like you could just feel the inner like discord or like dissonance, like you could feel that it wasn't right and that things were not as they were supposed to be, and that it's like you have this sense, you have this ability to sense when things in life are not balanced. Like maybe you're not someone who's really focused on like one side or the other, like good versus evil, black versus white. It's just you kind of hold the balance in between. You may be someone who's good at seeing both sides of a situation, or understanding perspectives of multiple people and not just one. So you always feel, even if you don't understand it, you can feel it within you when something is not right, when something is off balance. Like your right or wrong is balance and unbalanced. Like that's how you perceive it. And so if something's unbalanced, you can feel it, but sometimes you don't know what you can do. Like it's like you feel it, but you don't know, or you don't even feel like there's something you could do about it. And so it's frustrating because you still feel it. And if you're guided to just wait and let it work itself out, it's like in that waiting time, you can still feel that. But I feel like everything that felt like that in your life is being fixed by the universe, by spirit. So you're not going to feel that dissonance within yourself, because you're not going to be picking it up from your environment anymore. And one more message. 4 of Cups. So in this picture, in the 4 of Cups, it reminds me of what happens right after, because traditionally the person is focused on these 3 cups that have spilled, that are empty, and they're not noticing the one that's being given to them. But in this deck, it's kind of different, and the cups are stacked. They're not even falling over. I'm pretty sure they're falling over. Now I'm second guessing myself in the original deck. But anyway, it's like this person now has real, and I don't know if this is you or somebody else, but that's, the situation is closely related to you. This person now is no longer focused on the lack, on what they don't have, and they're focused, and see, they don't have this yet, but they can feel it, they can sense it, they can see it, they know it's coming, and they're letting this go so they can be open to receiving this. So however that relates to you, just know you're now in that energy. You're now in the after energy, the aftermath. So again, even though things haven't fully settled and cleared out and balanced out, you've made it out. And this is just the settling of it all. So I hope this brings you some clarity and some peace of mind, of heart. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. So now getting into pile 2, this blue pin. Let's see. What is Spirit's advice for you about whatever you're going through at the moment, whatever situations, challenges? I feel like, first of all, you're really being more patient with yourself. You've been practicing patience in your life, in the world, and things that happen, but now you're really, you've either mastered or you're about to master patience with your own self, which is going to be really huge for you. The Hermit, you've definitely been doing a lot of inner work, and it finally feels like you're past the heaviness, all the deep shadow work, and now you're like, it's like you can finally see the progress now. Before, it was like you had to just keep going, and you didn't even, there was a lot of uncertainty, but now it's like you've made it through. Like I'm getting the image of mining for gold or diamonds or something like that, and you don't know when you're gonna strike, but it's like now you've struck it. So it's like there's still work to do, but at least now you're not in that like just guessing and just keep going until you get somewhere. You've made it, and it's like you're still doing the inner work, but it doesn't feel, it's not that shadow work. You've already cleared that out, and now it's like the part where it finally gets kind of fun, or like it's not just hard work and pushing forward. Now it can actually, you have a little more control, a little more understanding. It's like you've been promoted from the base starting level to now like the assistant manager or something like that. You're just in more. And the Emperor upright, you're finally taking control of your world, but you did it the right way. You did it a way where you learned to control your inner world first, and that was that dark shadow work of having to clear all that stuff away so you could take back control of your inner world. So you've done that now, and now this is when you start to feel in control of your outer world and at peace and understanding with the things that you're not in control of, rather than letting them really frustrate you. You're just very open. Your mind is open. Your heart is open. You're not in a desperate energy. You're not in a clingy, overly attached, codependent energy. And maybe you once were. And if you were, then you've definitely healed that, because that is, I'm not picking up on that at all. It's like you just have this, you're not worried about the little things. You have this higher perspective, this higher knowledge, and like these little things, they don't even matter to you. You're focused on what actually matters to you, what you actually value in life, in your whole experience of being a spirit and a human. And you may have had something happen to you that, like, you were doing the work, but then something happened that really propelled it or really pushed it, or just like came out of the blue, unexpected. And it's like you were working really hard, and then spirit saw you and sent you this like good luck or this boost, and it really propelled you forward, just like a continuation of what you were already doing. But it feels like those who pick this pile, you're probably already starting to feel more in control and kind of on top of your world, but it's like very steady that this has happened. It's not like this, like these ups and downs, like now I'm on top of the world, now I'm depressed, now I'm up, now I'm down. It's like the place where you're at now is up, but it's like been a gradual building up, and that's why you're not going to lose it also, because you did it the right way, like the way where you get to keep these things, because what comes quickly can be lost just as quickly. But it's like you put in the work to do it the right way, whatever that means to you. That's just what I keep hearing, like you did it the right way, and now this is where the benefits come, that the whole reason you did it in the first place. And it just, life is gonna be showing a sweeter side to you, just like how people have all these sides to them, and like they can have this harsh exterior and like a softer inside once you get to know them. The way the world is, it has just as complex emotions as all of us. Like for some people the world can feel evil and horrible and dark, and for some people it can feel so sweet, and for most of us it changes all the time. But it's like this, in general, overall feeling of how you feel about the world is going to be presenting a sweeter side to you. Like you're going to be seeing a sweeter, gentler, softer, kind of like the feminine side of the world is going to be showing itself to you through people, through circumstances, through all these things. Nine of Cups in reverse. The Magician in reverse. So again, with the things that don't seem to bother you anymore, or you just kind of like, whatever, I'm over that, I've moved on, I've grown. It's gonna be the same with a lot of things that you were wanting or desiring. You're just not gonna have that desire for them anymore, and it's because the place you were coming from of wanting them was a place that you've evolved from. And so your desires are gonna shift, your wants, the things you hope for, dream for, that's gonna shift, and you are being guided to let it. So don't, like if you've always had this dream, let's say, of playing the guitar, learning to play the guitar, and you never really did it, you just kind of, it was just always something you were wanting to do, and then you just find yourself no longer wanting that desire anymore. It's okay to let that go. You don't have to be like, well, I let myself down because I never learned it. Well, do you still want to right now? If no, then you don't have to. Like, just let it go. Don't be afraid to. And for some people, this could even be relationships. Like maybe you thought it was going to be forever or long term, and now you're realizing it's not what you want anymore. And maybe it was what you wanted at one point and it was satisfying to you, but now your desires have changed and it's not what you want. So in any way that your desires are changing, that's okay. And this is your, like, if you felt like you needed permission or the okay to let that happen, it's okay. You're not going to regret it, is the thing. I think that's what you're worried about, is like, if I let this go, what if I look back and I've lost something? But again, you've evolved past the person you were when you wanted that and when it was useful to you. So you're never going to be that again. And it's never going to, even if you cling to it, even if you don't let it go, it's not going to bring you the same joy that it once would have. It's not going to. And for everything you let go of, there's going to be something new to take its place. So it's not like you're, like, don't worry that you won't know what to do. And if there is a waiting period when you let your hopes or dreams that you don't really want anymore, you let them go, and now you're waiting, like, well, what do I do now? What do I even work towards? Don't freak out in that waiting period. The new things will come. Like, I mean, just think about if somebody opens social media, they probably see at least 10 things that they want or that they would like to be or like to have. So it's not hard to desire things and wish for things. Like, You don't ever have to worry about not knowing what to do or not having a goal. Because even in the moments where you don't consciously have one, it's okay. Like, you just maybe need a little extra comfort or reassurance that it's okay to, however you feel. If you feel like you want something, if you feel like you don't, like, you don't have to judge your feelings or try and be someone you used to be that you're not anymore. Let's see what else. Like, there's so much more where it came from, is what I'm being guided to say. There's so much more where that comes from. That's not all you're gonna get. That's not, like, you didn't peak. Someone needs to know that also. You didn't peak. You didn't reach your peak. You didn't reach your, like, and if you want to have the mindset that you never do, like, your life is just one long peak, like, you'll never reach that high and then it'll just be downhill from there. Like, you can just always be going up and up your whole life. You never have to have that up and down. But for someone, you feel like maybe you have had a lot of good experiences, or you have accomplished many things you wanted or set out to. Okay, I just lost what I was gonna say. But yeah, just don't fear that you won't have anything new to want or desire or to work towards. And if you did accomplish those things in the past, like, even more so why you still can. And like, that's great that you did that, but it's okay to let them go. You don't have to, even if something you did in the past was your identity, like, you really, and now, like, you're afraid of letting it go because that you feel like that's who you are, then the issue is with you over identifying with this aspect that's not actually you. And so I'll use basketball as an example. If you used to be really into basketball, you used to love to play it, and now you just don't have that passion for it anymore, and maybe you were really good at it, maybe you were like scouted, and it's like someone doesn't want to, they feel like they've invested in something a lot, and so they're afraid to let it go. And somebody also is afraid they're going to let their younger self down because maybe it was a dream you had as a child, and like, even though you don't want to do it anymore, you're like, well, I still have to, I told myself I would. But where you are now is more important than where you were as a kid, and your desires now are more important because you're the most evolved version of you, and your inner child, your past self, would want you to be happy right now. That's the whole reason they wanted those dreams, is because they thought it would bring happiness. But if it's not going to bring you happiness, if it's not something that lights you up anymore, you can let it go. You've moved on and you've grown, and be proud of your past accomplishments, or if you didn't accomplish it, that's okay too. Like, you may just be someone who's interested in so many things, and it can be overwhelming because you want to learn so many things, try so many things, and you just feel like you can't do it all in this lifetime. So whatever moment you find yourself in, just go with that. And you'll find the balance between sticking with something till completion and like letting go of things that aren't really inspiring to you anymore. You'll figure that out, so don't worry about that. So last message, 10 of Pentacles. So about the you haven't peaked yet, like, oh, I think this is what I was trying to say before. Like, even if you have accomplished a lot, even if you have had a good life or have had really great achievements in your life, that does not at all mean that's over and that part of your life is done. Like, maybe those specific things are over, but you're just, like, I just hear, like, you're an achiever. Like, that's just who you are in life. It's not like a stage you were in or a phase. Like, it's just who you are, and it's who you always will be. So don't be afraid to move forward thinking that the best is gone, because the best is yet to come. So hopefully this helps you and brings you some clarity. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. So now, pile 3, this pencil, this is going to be your reading for What does Spirit want you to know about whatever you're dealing with or whatever situation you're in right now? These feel kind of more feeling based than like specific situation based, but that's because I like to get to the root of things, because I feel like that's where you can make the most effective changes, by changing it at the root, and that's what changes things faster. I like to do things the fast, easy way, but the right way, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to cut corners, so I'm gonna have to go back and do extra work. But if there's a way I can get what I want with the less effort and it's easier, then I'm gonna try and do that. Like the path of least resistance, you know? And sometimes the path of least resistance ends up looking like the path of most resistance. But it's just because the journey you're actually on the path of least resistance. It's just not an easy journey, no matter what path you take. So that all is relevant somehow. So this feels a lot like Gaia, Mother Earth energy, divine feminine, goddesses, all that type of stuff. So you could be really connecting to your inner divine feminine energy right now, or just feeling like outside of you this energy is calling to you, or it's connecting to you deeper in some way. And I think it's because you're focused on it as well. It's not just coming out of the blue. It's like you've wanted to connect with this part of yourself, or maybe just get to know it. Maybe it was really unfamiliar to you, this feminine side of you. And even if you're someone who identifies with being like very feminine or girly, it's like you still had this, that's not really what it is. It's like this deeper, it's like a god in female form, or like the woman side, not the woman side, like the yin to the yang, basically. Like split is the more feminine, more masculine. It's like you're wanting to focus on that energy. It feels like it's been an energy that you're trying to heal within your bloodline, within your, like a generational type of thing. And I mean, it's no secret that in the world, the feminine energy has been distorted and repressed, and it's now on the rise. That's just happening in the collective. It's just time for that now. So it feels like whatever you're working on right now has to do with this collective divine feminine energy rising in the world. And you could be, I don't want to say like you're chosen, because you chose it just as much as it chose you. So whether you want to think of it like you're chosen or that you chose it, whichever makes you feel better, whichever you like to hear better, either is true. It's like there's something specific or special about your ability to bring this energy through to the world. So in case you didn't know that's what you were doing right now, that is what you're doing. So it's almost like the work you do on yourself is helping the world. It's like I'm seeing you as you are. Like, let's say you're this big, but that's regular size, and you're healing yourself. And then on a larger scale, the world, that same energy within the world is being healed. So it's not like you have to go out and actually do things out in the world to heal it, because healing yourself and healing your own feminine energy, it's like all of this energy is connected with every person, with everything in nature. And so when you heal it within yourself, it's like it's just this ripple effect, like you bring the rest up with it. And it's not like it's bigger than you, because I'm trying to find the best way to explain this. It's really just like it's an outward projection of you. It's not like it's more powerful because it's the whole world. It's just as powerful as the feminine energy within you alone. It's like it's that energy reflected, projected out to the world. So there's just like an emphasis on your impact and your connection to the world, to the collective, to humanity. And you are like how she's like guiding, holding this light. It's like she's being a guide, lighting up the whole world. So that's the energy I'm feeling for this. Someone needed to know that. This energy feels like the least troublesome or struggle. It just feels like because you're connected to something so great and so powerful, like you're not focused on, how do I explain this? Like little things in your life, like you're focused on you, but it's a bigger deal, or like it's a bigger mission, even though that's not what you're trying to do. It's not like you set out like to do this for the world. You knew you had to do it within yourself first. Maybe you did want to be like a healer of the feminine energy, but you knew that started within, and you had to learn how to heal that within you first before trying to go and heal it in the world or with others. But it's like while you're doing that, you are healing the world, but you're not. It's like you think you're focused on yourself, and you are, but you're not realizing the impact you're having. Like most people, the things they focus on in their life, it's like career, or like it's more surface level, it's more material, and so it doesn't affect people as greatly. But because what you're focused on, even though you're only focused on it in yourself and inwardly, the subject that you're focused on is so worldwide, is so global, that it has such a greater impact. So I hope that makes sense. But it's like it wasn't your intention. Like you're just doing you're just minding your business. But it's important for you to know that what you're naturally drawn to is, it's like a greater thing than other people are. Like you're called to these things and you don't even realize it. But maybe part of you did, and you just needed some confirmation. So for those of you who don't consider yourself to be very spiritual or really connected to that world or open to those types of abilities, you're going to be discovering that you're way more connected than you once thought. You may have thought like, oh, like I'm just not born with that. Like I'm not a medium, I'm not a psychic, I'm not whatever. But it's like you may have felt such a separation between you and like those types of people that do that. But you're going to be realizing that the only difference is that they realize it and they put a name to it. And like you have these gifts as well. You just never thought about it in that way. Like you never associated these things you're able to do with like a spiritual, because you may have like grown up around people that kind of painted a picture of spirituality in one way, and so you only ever saw it like in that type of way. And it may, like maybe you, okay, now it's all coming together. So you didn't always consider what you were doing spiritual, but you're going to be realizing how it is, and how spirituality is not what you were raised to believe. Like it's not, like for some of you, you're thinking it's like this odd, like those are the people who like are covered in crystals and like geometric tattoos. It doesn't have to look a certain way, or it's like you thought it was like a fashion statement, or like I don't know, it's like you thought it was secluded to only certain people, and you didn't realize it was within everyone and everything. And like some people do, like some people use religion, some people use crystals, some people use animals. Like everyone has their own connection, everyone is spiritual. It's just not the way you were told spirituality was. So you're going to be realizing the connectedness, and that you have been on this spiritual journey. You just didn't realize it because you didn't call it that, because that's not what you associate with those words. But you're going to be realizing how connected. You're just going to be like, oh, I get it now. Like they're not just crazy hippies who talk about everything being connected. Like I get it now. So that feels like most of you in this pile. But for those of you who don't resonate with that message, this is really about you even if you are very spiritual or consider yourself to be, you still don't fully understand the impact you have on the world, like the positive impact. Like you're like this battery, this generator that like can generate enough energy for the entire world. Like it's insane what you can do, but it's like you're not even trying. That's the point. Like if you were to try, it would be so overwhelming you wouldn't even know where to begin. But you don't need to try. It's like you follow your heart, you mind your own business, you focus on you, and literally everything else falls into place because of that. So 4 of Cups and 6 of Pentacles in reverse. So this card came up in the last reading too. Doesn't feel the same though. Was it the last or the first? One of those. This just, so right away, I just felt this like peace and acceptance within you. It's just, you just don't even know how, like, I'm getting that some of you, like, you're an actual saint. Like, if you know what a saint is, it's basically when someone, I think it's, I forget, there's like specifics to how somebody becomes a saint. I think they have to like perform a miracle, they have to like predict something and it comes true. I don't know exactly, but I know there's certain things that like then someone officially becomes a saint. But I'm just getting like you are a saint, like but you don't even realize it. Like you may not think so highly of yourself, or it doesn't mean you have to think bad of yourself, but it's like you could never be bad. That's what I'm hearing. Like you could never be, I don't know, you're just different. There's just something about you that it's like you're just so connected with spirit. And for some of you, if spirituality seemed weird to you, it's because you have such a connection, such a deep connection naturally, that it felt silly to have things outside of you to represent that. So it just didn't feel, you're like, oh, maybe I'm not spiritual because I'm not into all that stuff. But it's because you don't need all that stuff. Like, you don't need the candles and the salt and like, you just have it internally, that connection. So, but you're going to be realizing all this. Like, all the pieces are going to come together. And it's like all this that you didn't even know about yourself, but you weren't supposed to know is the thing, because it's like you're doing it. It's almost like, okay, so I saw this TikTok recently and it's relevant. I'll tell you how. It's this girl, this lady, she's skiing down a mountain and there's like this big bear chasing her, but she doesn't even know. Like she doesn't even realize, I guess, till she looks back at the footage of the video, because she's like holding a selfie stick and it's filming her, so she can't see the bear. She has no idea. She's just like singing, like having a good time. And it's like that's the energy I'm getting, because if you were to know, then it would have like messed everything up. But it's like you're meant to be in this like carefree, just not worried about all these things, and that's like exactly where spirit wants you to be. That's where you're most useful. But now it's like now the information is going to start coming to you, all these things you didn't even realize. So I'm excited for you, and it's going to be fun and exciting. I hope you enjoyed this message and it gave you clarity. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.